Hey there, thanks for turning in. This is Mrs. J, and today I want to put some cams onto our box assembly. So you should already have a box with side holes, top holes, and a crankshaft that can move. If you right click and automate, it could move. So I want to make sure you have that open. And then come over to your data panel, which is found by looking at that Rubik's Cube type feature, and find yourself a cam. I'm going to use eccentric. You can use whatever makes you happy. You can always practice with this first and then switch on to the one you want. So eccentric cam, and I'm just going to drag it in here. All right, I'm going to leave that there for a second and close my data panel so I can have some space. I'm going to keep that highlighted instead of pressing enter or OK, and I'm going to drag it out of the box. Our first instinct is generally to throw it right on there and use all these tools, but let's just leave it where it is and let it go to exactly where you want it rather than trying to manipulate it over and over. Okay, so we have it here. I'm going to rotate it so it's in the right direction, because when it landed, it was in the plane I built it on was like the wrong direction. So just rotate it so that it's sitting sort of perpendicular to your axis. Okay, and hit OK. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be sort of like in that sideways direction. So we're going to do assemble tab, joint command, or J on your keyboard. And we're going to zoom in a little bit. I want the center of the hole. So you have to see that little axis thing come up. See that right there? It's got the red, the green, the blue. You have to have that. Click that. And also you'll see the cam gray out, meaning, okay, you've clicked it. We know you clicked it. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to move over. I'm going to zoom back in. Sorry, I'm a little tiny Chromebook, so gotta move around. And I'm going to click the edge of the axle here. So it really doesn't matter where on that axle as long as you're in the center. It could be anywhere along there. Okay, not quite done yet, so I'm keeping this open. Be careful not to hit enter because you still need to move. Two things we need to do. Let's rotate. Hit escape. Be careful not to touch the box while you're rotating. I'm going to change my view. TV box at the bottom, display settings it's called. Change your visual style to wireframe. This will let me see where my holes are on the top a little better. Rotate a little bit up. Drag it a little bit down so it's in the video. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to drag my arrow and just try to line that up right underneath there. You can be specific and type it in. You can just drag it around. When you drag it, it sort of limits you to like increment. So it went from 450 to 5. So I just want to mess around with it a little bit. I think 7.5 might be good. Nope. 6.5 or 70. 6.5 looks good. Let me just try 70, see how it looks. No. Six two worked for me. So do whatever works for you so it looks like it's pretty much underneath. Doesn't need to be perfect. You can line it up if you want to, but that's good. So now I'm going to do two things before I hit enter. So wait on that. I'm going to hit motion and make sure that it's on rigid. You may have had it on Revolute from doing the crankshaft right here in the last video. It stays on whatever you used last. So you do have to come back and change it. So put it on, what do you call it? Rigid. And then click OK. So now I'm going to go and put it in home view, and I can sort of see it. I'm going to go back to my regular visual style shaded. You can use whatever visual style you like. And then let's get in here and animate the whole thing. So now you have to highlight that little angle over there. That means you're highlighting the joint. And you want to animate the model. So you see the whole thing going around. If you didn't change that cam to rigid and you left it on Revolute, it would still turn, but it wouldn't turn with the axis. It would do its own thing. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, so to bring in another one, just repeat the same process. Let me see if I can stop this. Click OK. If you wanted to use two eccentric cams but didn't want them to be like, how do I say, lined up exactly the same because you want your models to go a little different, you're going to pull that down. Let's take a look at that. This is kind of fun to do. Okay, data panel, bring in the same cam. There we go, close data panel, so I have some space, drag it out. So the only thing you have to do differently is to rotate it. Oh, I can't grab it. Okay, rotate it, but then I'd also rotate it on the top here, like around. So my hole's on the top instead of on the bottom. And then I'm going to click OK for a second because this one's there. Now that's back on the bottom where it is. Okay, so let's do assemble, joint, and then zoom in here. Get the center right there. And then either pan or zoom out. Use your mouse wheel. Try not to touch the box. I can because I'm in pan. I'm okay. Hit escape once. And I want to click that center again. That joint command is going to be in the way. There's nothing to do about that. Just leave that. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to drag it along. I'm going to use the orbit tool to move so I don't grab my box on accident. And I'm going to change my display setting back to wireframe so I can see a little better. So get to the shortcut of these guys down below here, and that will save you a lot of headaches. Okay, so see how one's up, one's down? You don't have to do this, but it looks like a lot of fun. This one lined up nice and easy. So this one's up, this one's down. I'm going to make sure that I'm on rigid, which I am. My position is good. I'm going to click OK. So get out to your house here, isometric, and then go back to your visual style shaded, and we'll come back out. You have to, and I realized this was driving me crazy before, you have to make sure that the angle there is highlighted. That's how you get to right click on this, because otherwise it doesn't show up. Animate the model, not the joint. And I'll rotate a little bit. So see how one's up, one's down? That's pretty neat, huh? If you don't like the size of your cams, you can go back and change them. It is no problem at all. You just go back to the original file, open up your parameters box, change your nominal diameter to something a little bit bigger, and then when you come back here, you just update. It'll have a little exclamation point with a triangle and say, hey, something needs to update, and you can change it without making new ones. Be done in a minute. Okay, kids, have fun. Thanks for watching.